Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Good, Justin. How are you, man?
I'm good. So I will talk uh, as if we're live streaming for a moment. Those of you that are in the chat, we're doing, we want to try out this fireside chat. And so it's basically Mike and I are going to have a real conversation. And you guys are going to hang out with us. And then this is going to be available to everyone publicly the following day. So fireside chat with Console Kits and Michael B. And we don't really have a plan, but this is how it works, right? You go to a buddy's house and you're like, what's going on, man? And then naturally a conversation comes up. And I don't want to hold anything back. I don't, I mean, this is not drama. This is not like, hey, let's talk about all the drama. No, this is like, I want to have a little conversation with my friend. I don't have any ideas. It's not an interview. It's just, let's have a good time.
So who you want to talk about first?
Hey, remember when we were in Chicago?
Yeah.
And you kept on saying, I love life.
I know you've been using it lately. I like that.
I've been using it. There's another thing I stole from you. It was, and at work, they talk about it all the time. And I told them in work. So I went to New York right after our Chicago trip. And when I was in New York, every now and then I would just look at my coworkers and I would say, you know what, guys, I'm just having a really good time. But we were like going out, you know, we were going to restaurants and stuff, you know, doing the Manhattan thing because that's where our headquarters is, and it was just a really good time. And I told everyone, it's like, I know this guy Michael Burry, and he kept on saying this on this trip to Chicago, and I want to steal it. And then the other day I was on a Zoom call, and our project manager was like, "Is everything good, Justin?" I'm like, "Everything's great." And he goes, "Of course, you're having a really good time."
It makes me happy. Very happy.
Right. Yeah, I want to turn this into an interview, but I'm trying not to. I want to be like, tell me about how you got into this hobby. That feels like an interview, though. I want it to be a fireside chat.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I deplore small talk. Like, normal small talk that people make just for, what is it, the niceties of stuff when you're sitting around with somebody and you don't really know what to say. So
Mm-hmm.
people are like, how's the weather? Or they'll just, a random comment. I don't like that stuff. Like, I've never been good at that stuff. Like, I will just automatically just start talking about either something I like or something that I find funny in the situation and hope that it goes somewhere from there.
Yeah. Go for it. Go for it. The floor is
Oh,
yours,
no, I
man.
have nothing now. I know you. There's no need to make small talk.
All right. How about this?
Ooh,
This,
ooh,
this,
is that an E-Win chair?
jeez,
That is some product, man.
whatever. I got something for you. So the other day you were talking about how it would be fun to do an interview show. We
Yep.
discussed that. And then you sent me a link that you did that
Yeah.
like 10 years ago.
Yep.
I haven't watched it yet because it looked really boring.
Oh, it is
I'm
super
kidding.
boring. I wear a
But
suit.
tell me about that. Like, you've obviously been doing YouTube for a really long time. Fine, let's just do it. You ready for it?
Sure.
How did you get into YouTube? Let's do that.
I got into YouTube from the stupidest way possible. When the Nintendo Wii came out, I got really into the virtual console, and it really, waxed the nostalgia bones for me. Like, one of the big ones was TurboGrafx 16 was going to be on it, and I always wanted a TurboGrafx 16 growing up. I grew up in the weirdest like neighborhood in the world where I had a Nintendo and every single other person on the road was like, "Oh, Nintendo, we all have TurboGrafx 16s." I'm serious,
Are you,
legit.
are you serious?
Yes, every other kid on the road had a TurboGrafx 16. One of them even had the TurboGrafx 16 CD. And I was just like, am I in Bizarro world? Like, why does
Yeah.
everybody have a TurboGrafx 16 here?
No, nobody owned a
I
TurboGrafx
know.
16.
I
All of
know.
them are sold in Newfoundland. Is that right?
Well, I think what happened was these guys had all had Nintendos, and we were friends with this older kid by the name of Arcade, and he was like super uber, like I don't know the right way to say it. He's like a cool nerd, and he's the guy who had the Turbo and the Turbo CD. But what happened was towards the end of the TurboGrafx 16's life cycle, they went on sale pretty heavily. They were heavily discounted at Radio Shack and Radio
Mm.
Shack here in Canada, and I think that's where the guys all grabbed the TurboGrafx 16s. So everybody else had one, and I used to borrow theirs, but I never had one myself. So when the Wii came out, the opportunity to have a TurboGrafx 16 was
Oh.
just so exciting. So I really got heavily into the Wii and the Virtual Console. And then from there, that led me to start seeing games were coming out. They had a Monday drop for new games for the Wii Virtual Console every week. So sometimes I wasn't familiar with them, and that led me to actually watching YouTube. So I would go and look for videos on, do I really want to buy Simon's Quest when it comes out on Monday?
Mm.
And that's how I found the Angry Video Game Nerd. And then all of a sudden, I got addicted to watching YouTube, and I got addicted to watching like the Angry Video Game Nerd, my friend Ed T1138, the Game Chasers, Clan of the Grey Wolf, Pat the NES Punk, so many more, like Happy Console Gamer, not happy, well, a little bit of Happy Console Gamer, but it was the Happy Video Game Nerd who goes by a different name now. I forget what his name is now. Derek Alexander, Stop Skeletons from Fighting.
Mm.
So all these awesome channels had all this really cool content on retro gaming, and I got really interested in it, and it felt like a community atmosphere, and it made me want to do it, want to try it. So eventually what happened was I, got all my old NES stuff from my parents' house, started collecting again, and I started making videos because I wanted to be like these people that I had been interested in and watching for like months and months and months, and I wanted to join that community. So I tried my hand at it. And I'd always wanted to like make like movies or learn how that stuff works. So that seemed like a pretty natural progression.
Yeah, you bring up this topic of, well, you got into YouTube, you were making a lot of, you're watching a lot of content on it. And so it brings me to this interesting question or topic that I'd like to talk about. So I've been questioning for a long time, continuing to make YouTube content. And we've been talking about that. And I've been thinking about it this way because there's been times P Dubs is like, I'm done. This is my last season. Right. And I told him, I was like, okay, you can feel that way, whatever. But I kind of look at it in a different way. And I was trying to encourage him to look at it that way. I would say, like, are you going to renew for another season? And I kind of like that approach. So yesterday I was like, will I make content in 2023? Am I done? And I was leaning towards yes. And then I talked to my wife. She talked me out of it. And here's why. I told her, I think there's a lot better things that I could be doing with my time. And it made me think about making a video called um, The Arcade1UP Addiction is a Lie. Very clickbaity, but the premise of it was to, and I'm not going to do it. Instead, it's this fireside chat. I'll just explain it. Is my thought was, why is there's this big surge? There's this community, and I love everyone in the community, but there's this surge of people that are around this product. Why? Why does it exist? Why do the live streams that we do have a decent amount of people, but we have fewer subscribers? And then there's other content creators have 100,000 subscribers, but when they do a live stream, it's 20 people. Why is that? And so my thought I went to was, the Arcade1UP addiction is a lie. It's the YouTube addiction.
Hmm.
I remember making videos of, are you addicted to Arcade1UP, or are you addicted to home arcade? And I think I'm addicted to YouTube. So I talked to my wife about it. Just to cut to the chase, my wife says, you're not addicted to making content. You're addicted to watching content. You don't have a problem. She's like, you shouldn't quit YouTube. You should quit watching YouTube so much. Like, that's your problem. Do you think there's a problem with the amount of content that people consume in social media?
Mm, that's kind of a double-edged sword there. I don't think that there's a problem with the amount of content that people consume. I think sometimes if people are not intentionally, and I'm not saying that people are this gullible or easy-minded, but I do think that if you're taking in a lot of content from particular individuals, it's easy to have a almost like hive mind, or like you become influenced kind of by that material and what's going on. Does that make
Maybe.
sense?
I think I understand what you're saying. And maybe this is just a personal problem that I'm dealing with that I want to talk about out loud because I don't mind talking about that. But yeah, I was thinking that my problem was I'm obsessed with making videos and talking about it, podcasts, and I do it a lot and think about it. It gives me anxiety sometimes because I'm doing it so much. And my wife says, your content's fine. Like you going downstairs and doing live streams, hanging out with your buddies, that's fine. Chatting with people online, it's fine. She goes, where you have anxiety is it's like you're on your phone a lot. Scrolling, like I got the Netflix problem where I'm like sitting here
Ah,
scrolling looking for content. Maybe it's just me. So what I did do, I did make a change tonight. I moved where I charge my phone to the other side of the room so that when I lay down in bed, like I don't have my phone. It's charging on the other side of the room. Not to say that I can't like use my phone or consume content during the day, but I think I do stay up a couple hours every night laying there in bed, like watching. And it's not like I'm watching this community's content. I'm watching tons of content in other communities, you know?
yeah. There's other YouTubers out there. Like if you talk to Cool Toy will tell you like he's very involved in toys and home arcade and arcade stuff. That's stuff he's interested in. But he'll actually just watch like stuff on how to make videos. That's the kind of stuff he actually
Yeah.
watches. So even though you might YouTube something, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll watch it. Like since my son has been born, I've told you all this already. One of the big things that I've been watching on YouTube now, because my son like sits there and he'll go crazy. The only way to actually get him to relax is to listen to music. So we listen to a lot
Right.
of like 90s alternative music. That's what I'm watching on YouTube now a lot. Like I've got a set playlist of, Smashing Pumpkins, Stone Temple Pilots, a lot of like one hit wonders from the 90s. It all comes up. But also I've been finding a lot of like independent cover bands and stuff like that. Like I found this band called First to 11, and I
I've
don't know
heard of that
how.
band.
Yeah, I don't know how I found them, but like they do some really good stuff. Like they did I think it was a Sum 41 cover. I actually love Sum 41. I know it's not
Yes.
everybody's favorite stuff, but I love them. And they did some Sum 41 stuff, and they also do a cover of song Blinding Lights, which
Yeah.
is like I just love the song, and their cover is excellent. So
I've hit them
yeah,
on YouTube. First to 11 covers are really good.
really good, really good. High production too. The video and everything, like really impressive.
Yeah, I will entertain the chat a little bit. I mean, the reason why those in the chat may seem that we're ignoring you, but I am reading the chat. But at the same time, I'm trying this fireside chat, which is like the concept of a fireside chat, right? Is the way I understand it is two people like sitting in front of a fire just talking, right? And so to kind of try this out for the first time, this is a members only live stream where we're doing this. As Paul mentioned, this is members only, so the crowd is much smaller. It's more intimate, and I remember RetroRGB Bob telling me this long time ago. He's like, "Dude, it's so nice to like sit down with members, and I need to do that more." So I had this idea of doing it, but what he does, and he told me recommended, he's like, "You should still make the content public, right? Like other people can enjoy it. You know, it's not like you're necessarily gatekeeping the content from everybody, but it's one way to keep it kind of more intimate, and that is my goal. But I also want to like talk about real things, you know, like things that are actually going on in our lives that are that we're thinking about, right? Like a real conversation instead of a show. Like this is not a show. This is a conversation. Um, so how's it been like? Maybe the audience is interested. So how old's your Thomas now?
Thomas is 7 months. As most of you know, it's interesting having two kids And me and my wife are both working from home right now. We have been since the pandemic, and we've been struggling a little bit with the new kid,
Mm.
really trying to work things out. And I don't know if I'm just slower than everybody else, but like YouTube wise, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like the stuff I've been doing, it
Mm-hmm.
takes me forever. Like I'm doing a review on my Sega Genesis Mini right now, on Mini 2. And I mean, I worked on it for 4 hours the other day. That was just capturing gameplay footage, and I'm not done. Then I got to do another side where I'm going to take a TV and set it up and do in-person gameplay footage instead of just capturing it. Then I got to write the script, and then I still got more video to capture too, because I'm going to need close-ups of the consoles and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
So like, I don't understand how people get something and do a review in one day, and I know how they do it because they film a couple things and they talk over it and they just go off the cuff and that's that. But I can't do it that way. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't. So I've been struggling to find the time to enjoy my life, make sure I'm making the most of my time with family, taking care of my responsibilities, and do a lot of this stuff I want to do at the level of what I wanted to do it.
Yeah. Hey, sorry about that. How to Bachelor. I just turned up my volume. Hopefully it's better. Wait a second. Is it better now? Okay. Anyway, he was saying I was low. Justin is so quiet and soft. Michael B is loud. Let me know if it sounds better.
You sound good to me.
Okay. So, what is here's the thought. You got the kid, the pandemic, your wife, and you have another kid. What's it like, making the home arcade content? And you're doing, a Sega Genesis Mini 2 review, and you're juggling so many things, right? Like, so, like, how do you organize all of that? Do
I
you
don't
have any?
know. Organize. That's an interesting term. Uh, I don't organize things, Justin. I do them as much as I can when I do them, and everything's task oriented. Like I'm trying to be smart now.
Uh
Like
huh.
when I get a product, I am intentionally something I never did before. Before I even use it, I'll unbox it, but I make sure I record the unboxing. That doesn't mean I'm going to be doing the video anytime soon. It's just I've got that footage there to apply to the stuff later when I do get around to doing it. So I find that helps. But other than that, man, I am so behind. Like I've got a Dragon's Lair review to make. Dragon's Lair only came out what, like 7 months ago?
Oh my gosh, you're way behind on that. Well, so here's a question for you: how have you been dealing with the pressures of this community as it relates to content from other content creators? That I mean, hands down, I still think that the best footage in home arcade this year is when Rexer popped off live on that stream to you. I mean, it's like the number one, in my opinion, piece of content
Oh,
in our community.
oh,
It was beautiful. I'm glad you got to
oh.
be a part of that. But how do you deal with that type of stress?
I don't know. I find it tough. Like we did talk about this. Might as well be open. It is weird. It wasn't so much the Rexer thing because that always bothered me because I thought we were actually friends, and that's what hurt me so much about it. There's lots of people that say stuff to me and go off on me all the time. Like people think I'm a likable guy. I know I'm an unlikable guy, so I'm used to this.
I don't know
But
about unlikable guy.
yeah. But anyways, that's not so much a problem. But we talked about it that there was this other thing going on where all of a sudden all these rumors and speculation came up about all these people in the home arcade community,
Mm,
and it felt like you were under a microscope, and it was just so weird because you felt like people were like scrutinizing all your actions, and it's such an uncomfortable feeling over what. And it's all so ridiculous, like these comments people were making, like, oh, you guys are shills, you're on the take. Dude, like honestly, I get like 2,000 views a video. What are you talking about? Like, there's no way that I'm big enough for a company to really be that interested in me and trying to, change the views that I'm putting out there or the impact that I have. This is ludicrous. And maybe I don't know. I never followed any of the Miko stuff or what went on there. Maybe they're bigger channels or something like that. But I didn't give a shit about the Amigos. I didn't cover it. I cover Arcade1UP, AtGames, and iArcade because I'm interested in it right now.
Right.
But you know what? In 2 years, I might not be interested in it anymore, and I might cover something else, or I might not do anything. I might just say, "Hey, I don't wanna spend, 30 hours a week trying to make videos. I wanna play games or spend time with my kids." That's the way this stuff goes. I've disappeared before. I'll probably do it again.
Yeah. I mean, talking about Rexer, I think he's a fantastic content creator. I met him in person. He's super nice. Like absolutely one of the kindest persons I ever met. Um at CES, I was on a video that he did where he interviewed me and Ralph. It was awesome. He invited me on to a game show on his channel. It was honestly just fantastic. He makes this content about Donkey Kong. I'm a real big Donkey Kong fan. I just saw one show up in my area in Norwalk, Iowa for $1,200. Donkey
Thinking
Kong in
about it?
pretty decent shape. I was recently looking at Donkey Kong Jr. for $1,200, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't want it because it's Donkey Kong Jr." But if it was Donkey Kong, I would get it. And it looks like it's in pretty clean condition. I remember when Rexer did that video on the Superman, I was really, and now whenever I see a Superman cabinet, which I do from time to time see it, I want to get it because I remember the Superman. And so, I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry that you had that experience with Rexer. I just think he's a really nice guy. And you know, I don't know exactly what led to that exactly. There being an issue.
Well, it was the thing with miscommunication, the thing with the Simpsons cab, where he assumed that for some reason me and Patrick were trying to bamboozle people out of their money so I could buy a Simpsons cab. When it was very clear Patrick was going to buy me a Simpsons cab because he made this, I don't know, this idea that he said, "Hey, if we can get $200 in super chats, I'll buy Mike Simpsons cab." I don't know why he did it. You would see Patrick do this stuff in other streams. Like we would get in there and he'd be like, "We get up to 150 likes, I'm going to do this." I don't know why he did what he did, but
Mm,
Rex went off, and I thought we were friends at the time without even talking to me, and went on a stream with UAG. And these guys blasted me and said that I was like an e-begging piece of shit. And instead of me handling it in stride or handling it the best way, I went on the stream and I just blew up. And I was like, you guys are idiots talking about super chats and stuff like that. Like super chats are tips. People can do whatever they want with them. If I want to spend them on hookers and blow, I'll spend them on hookers and blow. And anyways, that's stuck up. People still use that one today. But then I tried to get the guy on a call afterwards, and I was blowing up at him. I was just not handling it well. And whatever reason, I guess, this thing really blew him up, and he just could not see clearly that we weren't trying to bamboozle people. He had it in his head, and there was only one answer. I had to donate my money. And I was just like, if he had called me or wrote me or been like a decent human friend, like normal person, and been like, "Hey, I just got to tell you, I caught your stream last night. It really made me super uncomfortable. Like you guys taking super chats and saying you're going to buy a Simpsons cab. Like I think you should donate the money." I would have said, "Geez, Rex, I never thought about that. Like, maybe
mm.
I'll think about it and talk to my wife, and maybe that's what I'll do." And I have no idea. But instead of that, there was this public decree that I'm a piece of shit. And then all of a sudden I have to donate my money, which, it put me on the spot that no matter what I did then, it was going to vindicate him and make him seem like some kind of hero because he saved the day or fixed it. And I didn't want to give him the satisfaction.
Well, why just let him have the satisfaction? I mean, the way I try to deal with the maybe this will help you,
No,
man.
no, no,
Like
no,
we
no.
should try to seek for ways to de-escalate the situation. Like whatever outcome is the best to de-escalate the situation and create peace, that's where you should aim for, right? But if you say what you said to him, it sounds like it's only creating more friction.
Yes, I agree. I handled the
Who's being the
situation.
stubborn person, Rexer or you?
I handled the situation incorrectly. And in the end, well, no, I mean, Rex is being the stubborn person because he's demanding that I have to make a donation. I don't have to donate anything. Like I did, but I didn't have to.
Okay.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like if it was just a matter of, saying sorry, I will always take that path because honestly, it's not worth it to me. I don't want to be in a bad place with somebody, but there was a public demand that I do something, and I didn't think that was fair.
So as a content creator, right, and a fellow one, I think this is inevitable. Um, as you grow your channel or grow an audience, I was thinking about it this way. Like, let's say that you're in front of 5 people. You're with your friends. You're out to dinner, right? And you're like, "Hey, so last week I did XYZ." And
Hookers and
you're
blow.
sure. But you're with like 5 people, and they're your best friends, and they're like, "Yeah, that's awesome." They're all like agreeing with you because they're your friends and they have similar taste. Now imagine that same scenario. No matter what it is, whatever the situation is, you said that I told my wife this sentence, whatever it was, and your 5 friends are like, "Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it." But what if it's at work and it's 100 people, or what if you're in front of a crowd, it's 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people? The more people that's in front of, the higher likelihood that you're going to offend somebody. So look
Yeah.
at it this way. Imagine 1,000,000 people. You and I right now, we're on a stage in front of 1,000,000 people, and we just said a couple sentences to each other, no matter what it was. You're going to offend somebody in that group. It's just numbers, right? So as a content creator, if you make videos that, even if it only gets 500 views or 300 views, you go look at the amount of views. Like Michael B, how many views have you got in totality on your channel over the last 10 years? That number is in the millions, right?
Oh yeah.
You're going to offend somebody with something you say.
And how?
Yeah, and somebody is going to say something back. It's inevitable. But I think the most important thing is, well, how do you react to it? How do you react to someone attempting to provoke you? That they want to provoke you. That is their goal. Do you provoke back? Or do you, how do you, and actually that is my real question to you. As a content creator that's been doing it way longer than me, I've only been making content, this is 5 years for me. The first year, very little content, and then 4 years of, regular content. I don't have the experience that you have. So have you had that experience before? And if so, how do you deal with it? How do you move on?
I've had lots of things said about me. Every time like when YouTube first started getting bigger for a lot of us, one of the things that people in my community, small community in the retro gaming space, hated was when people monetized their videos. You weren't supposed to. That's a bad thing to do.
Hmm.
Like they were like, "Hey, you're a piece of shit if you monetize your videos."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Well, I'm going to monetize my videos." And here's the thing. I wasn't even collecting the money from it. It's just, common sense tells me Google bought YouTube. It's a business. If I monetize my videos, they're probably going to do better than videos that aren't monetized.
I 100% agree with that. I believe there's all this information out there about like how to be successful at YouTube, how to get more views or whatever, and they explain the algorithm. And I don't know if I'm a position of any authority, but as working for a company that, has $1 billion products, they're businesses. So the conversations that come into the developers are typically, how do we make us money?
Yeah.
So I would imagine that the developer team that's behind the algorithm they get executive memos that are like, how do we increase our revenue billions of dollars?
Yeah.
And so that algorithm is all designed to promote content that will make YouTube more money. So if you, as a content creator, just simply want to get your message out to more people, you just want to reach more people, hitting the monetization button isn't the algorithm going to. So I say that, and I've told you this before, and I think P-Dubs as well. And it was like, the secret to the algorithm is make YouTube money.
Yeah.
Is figure out a way to make YouTube a ton of money. If your goal is to just kind of reach more ears. And I remember someone saying to me, why would you ever want to do that? Why would you ever? It doesn't matter how many people watch you. And no, I hear you. It doesn't really matter. But I thought about it. I was like, imagine I did this podcast and there were 0 people watching. 0. And every single video I ever made, just 0 people were watching. Wouldn't at some point you would be like, I don't know why I do this. Like, I make all this content, no one watches it. Zero. The number's always zero.
It's tough. I actually do have friends that are still doing this stuff and have been doing it for a while. They've tried different things to grow, and like, they'll stream. They'll do gameplay streams for 2 hours with 2, 3 people watching. Mainly it's me in there writing dirty comments to them
Sure.
just to
Sure.
try to make them laugh. But yeah, like, it sucks, and I don't know what to do to tell them or help them. I don't know, but they still want to do it, so they're still trying. But just no uptake. I don't know. Like for me, I'm weird. I have a
Mm,
weird mindset. So if I make a video, there's no number that matters to me more than the views. And like, I
okay.
don't care how much money it makes. I don't
Okay.
care about this. I don't care about that. I do like seeing some likes because that means people aren't watching and being like, oh, this idiot. So, but the views for some reason validate the work I put in. So if I do a bunch of work and I don't get a lot of views, I feel like it was a failure. I don't care about the money, anything else like that. It's all about people seeing it and engaging with it for me.
Mm.
And if I do a video that I didn't put a lot of work into and it gets a bunch of views, I feel like I cheated the system.
Yeah. 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 I've told P Dubs before because he's asked me like this and that. What do you go after when it comes to it? And I go, I mean, if I'm being straight with you, any number that I can use to justify like literally I'm like, oh, this month I got high views. Okay, cool. That's why I'm going to continue doing it. It's encouraging. Or the views are low, but the watch time is high. It's like, oh, I did a podcast that got 34 minutes on average, and it's like, it's like 50% watch time. I was like, well, that's a number that means I should keep going. Um, and there's been 6 months, I think maybe 6 months out of the 4 or 5 years that I've done it, where I just literally never looked. I would upload videos or I do a live stream and I would never look. And maybe that is good. I don't know what the right answer is. There probably isn't a right answer.
There's no right answers. The only right answer is what works for you. Like, I've got friends that do this in our own space, and I know you know, how critical they are about their numbers, looking at their numbers, and then being comparative to other people covering the same stuff. And like, it's like this unhealthy like competition for them and stuff like that. And like, to me, I'm like, that's all crazy. Like, honestly, if I make a video and it gets 4,000 views and my friend gets like 9,000 views, I don't feel like I failed. I'm happy for my friend.
Oh, sure,
Like, I
absolutely.
know other people that like intentionally are just out there, like, just they spiteful, want to have more views and do better than, like, there's healthy competition, and then there's just really weird mindsets, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will say, let's talk about encouraging people instead of discouraging people. Um, I went to Retro World before the pandemic. No,
Yeah.
not Retro World. It was just Bob's conference. He had like a private meetup, and I was there, and I was a new content creator, and there was a lot of these content creators. My life in gaming was there. So
Good
it was,
guys.
yeah, good guys. So I'm this content creator with like a couple hundred subscribers or something, um, I'm heavily into RGB mods, Mister, all of these very technical scenes, and I was struggling to make content. Like, I'm not saying struggling to upload content and have it do well. I was struggling capturing it. I was struggling making the videos and have them be well informed. I just would never upload them because they weren't like it was this. It was hard. It was hard to like get the camera just right to kind of get the CRT to stop flickering. I should go back to that because I know how to do it now. I know it's the frame rate, and if you get it to 59 point exact, you can get it where it just looks perfect good. Because later I started just asking My Life in Gaming, what's the secret to get the CRT to not flicker? And they're like, oh, it's like this. Go to your camera settings and put it in this, and then you can get it. But anyway, I would tell them, and I'm like, but I did a couple videos on Arcade1UP, and I enjoy the Arcade1UPs, but it has a ton of traction. And Jose Cruz, who works at, he's a buddy of Bob's. He lives in New York. He looks at me and goes, then make Arcade1UP content. It's still retro. He's like, you have the ability to reach people. It's like, help people, tell them how great 4x3 is. Get them to make the PCBs better. Help us get Arcade1UP to make the quality of the product better that scene would actually consider buying one of these things. And I was like, this is really good advice.
But you failed.
The golden tee will go down in history as the worst thing that Arcade1UP ever came out with. But it was super encouraging for them to be like, look, there's a community of people that are interesting to hear you. And that's when I heard that thing. He was like, imagine if you're talking about retro gaming in the format that you absolutely want to make, these really complex no-face. That was my plan. I was going to be a no-face content creator that is a bench that talks about like soldering and consoles and doing that's why it's called Console Kids, right? And it's like, if you're going to do that content that you love, but one person is listening, versus you can still provide great information to a community. But now I have close to 2 million views total, because I made the choice of like, yeah, I'd rather share in a community that I am passionate about and they're passionate about it, and it's still retro gaming, and it's about how to play these in a fun way, you know? And what I never knew what was going to happen is that I would meet you.
I know, community, right?
And 19K Fox, you know, and we literally got together in Chicago. And then I went to Retro World and randomly ran into about 5 people that recognized me, that were like, I'm so-and-so in the community. I'm like, that's awesome. I went to an arcade auction last year, and 3 people were there, and they were like, I subscribe to you. And we talked about arcades, and it was fun. Yeah. Not like it was fun to be recognized. It was fun to have conversations with people and marvel over how awesome arcades are.
I found it a little weird to be recognized at times, depending on what time it is. I went to a really swanky...
Hookers and blow is really weird when they say, they're like, Michael B, you want the same thing as usual?
Like, you're out in the mall with your family and they're like, hookers and blow. No, I was out at this is before the home arcade scene, and I was out at this Christmas party with my wife at this really swanky thing. My wife, I don't necessarily come from the wrong side of the tracks, but my wife comes from like the higher end of society, like her family and stuff like that. So we're at this like really posh Christmas party for like the elite.
This is exactly what I was hoping that this stream would turn into.
So we're at this posh Christmas party for the elite, and like, I'm super self-conscious about myself. Like, on top of the fact that I'm not elite, I'm poor. I'm a poor man starting out at the time. I'm there with my wife, and I'm in clothes that I didn't feel confident were dressed high enough, and I just started to put on weight. I just started to feel uncomfortable about my appearance again. And anyways, I'm there at the buffet and I'm walking around. Some guy comes up and he was like, Michael B. And he outs me for having like a YouTube channel about video gaming, and I didn't know how to react to it. I was like so embarrassed, and like I was just like, yeah, that's cool that you watch, man.
Yeah, that's a fun story. Anyway, so those are positive things that happen when it's just meet people. There's a people that reached out that said that I've known, chatted with on Facebook. They said they're probably gonna come out to the auction next week. I'm just excited about that, to get to know people. That's the thing that and I was kind of thinking about this fireside chat. I wanted to start with someone I know really well, like you, but I'm hoping to chat with more people and maybe chat with people in the community as well. So those of you that are watching this show and want to be a part of this series, email me at consolekids@gmail.com. We'll figure out a way, set it up where you can do a live stream with us. I had the idea of talking to people and getting to know them and just kind of explore the topic is actually what I wanted to do a year ago. About a year ago, I quit. I've quit YouTube about 3 times, and then I come back. So a year ago, I took about a 3-month break, and then I was like, I'm going to come back, and I wanted to do this fireside chat format, where we jump on a call, and it's not a show; it's just conversation. But I don't know. I just never did it. And I just realized, because I'm renewing for the 6th season for 2023. And I talked to my wife today, and I realized, I was like, I haven't done what I actually want to do. And that's wrong.
Yeah, big time.
If you're like a content creator and you're not making the content that you want to make. And I don't care if this video only gets 500 views. I don't care if Andor only gets 500 views. That's the content I want to do. And the weekly podcasts that talk about home arcade, that's the content I want to do, you know? So I'm just trying to throw more at, like, this is the content I want to make. So
yeah, and I think people should be more comfortable with doing that. Like I try to be myself as much as I can on YouTube, and I talk about things that I'm interested in. If I'm not interested in, I'm not talking about it. Now, people can say whatever they want. Oh, you're following the views because you're doing this, you're doing that. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've bought almost every single Arcade1UP cabinet. You want to know why? Because obviously I'm very interested in it. I'm interested in all the home arcade stuff. That's what I've been covering it. However, if I'm not interested, I'm not going to cover it. I'm going to cover other stuff. I don't do YouTube to kind of, follow views. If I was following views, I'd still have a big wall of NES games behind me, and I'd still be making the same content I was originally making. So I think the important thing to do on YouTube is do what makes you happy, unless you're trying to be the next Mr. Beast and then do everything he does to become successful. It's one of those things. What do you want to do? What do you want your YouTube to be? I'm hoping that I can enjoy it and I can get what I want out of it by doing what I want.
yeah, that's good. That's good. I remember when, and I go back to my original roots of why I made a content, why I started making content. I had a friend, Jamie, not Jamie Loken, but a different Jamie. He teased me last week because I kept on talking about Jamie, and he's like, "I know, I'm so great, right?" I'm like, "No, Jamie from Colorado, not you." But anyway, I wanted to make a podcast with him, and I actually was thinking about having him on the show because my very first May 28th, 2018, my first live stream that I ever did on YouTube, my very first video was a live stream with me and Jamie Wilkaszewski. And Jamie and I were going to do a podcast that talks about deals, retro gaming deals, and then speculate about, this is like our first video was about, will the NES Switch Online add multiplayer to games that didn't originally have multiplayer? That was our show. So imagine you can play Super Mario Brothers for the NES, but it's 2-player version, not turn-based. Like straight up Mario and Luigi at the same time. Like, are they going to enhance the games? We didn't know. We're like, what would be an incentive to bring those games to the Switch? Are they going to do anything extra with the game? Because there's all these like mods out there, there's these hacks that like add different features. And we did one show together, and it was a lot of fun. And the only reason why we didn't continue with the podcast is he tried it, and he was like, I have a family. I don't have the time.
For a podcast, like, it takes such a small amount of time.
He's got
And
twins.
I guess it's relative, because like if I do a video, I'm not saying I know what I'm doing. Half the reason it takes so long is because I don't. But like, honestly, doing a podcast like this with you, is just, I don't ever prepare. I don't prepare for a show. I don't believe in it. I think you just go out and have a conversation. That's the way I do things. Other people may do things, and that's probably why they're better than me. But but like, when I come on to something like this is fun. This is hanging out. This is not an obligation. I don't get it when people are like, whoa, I've got this massive burden where I'm going to sit down and talk to you for an hour a week about something I enjoy. Just can't do it. I don't get that. I do get having twins, but like you're telling me you can't find 1 hour out of all the hours in the week to sit down with a friend and have a fun conversation. That's
Well,
nuts.
One Up Weekly. That's why it died.
No, that's not why it died.
Come on, Ralph didn't have an hour a week. He ran out of time.
That sucks, and that's why it happened. I thought it was
There's many
different.
reasons, but
Yeah.
that is definitely one of them. One of them was time based. I mean, when he said, "I can't do One Up Weekly anymore," the message said, "I'd hate to do this to you, but I'm married now. Uh, I got kids, and their lives are changing, and I'm struggling. I have to cut something out of the life to make everything work, and unfortunately, it just has to be One Up Weekly."
Oh man, he should have got rid of one of his kids. I don't know what he was thinking.
But I don't know. Maybe I mean I can tell you in the last couple about a month or so, like all of a sudden my wife just signed up my daughter for every possible
I
dance
know.
class
Yeah.
possible because the teacher was like, because when we got my daughter into dance when she was like 4 or 5 years old, she was very uncoordinated, and that's one of the reasons why we put her in dance. And they were always like, the dance teacher goes, "Evelyn, she's a sweetheart," which is code for she's really nice, but she's never going to be great at dance. But she was always a great student. She listens, she behaves. She's a model student, but she's never been great at dance. Now she's 14. She's actually really good. She's like dedicated and practices and does a great job. So now the teachers are like, yeah, she's really good. Like she could do what's it called? They wanted to put her in the ballet where you have the shoes that are on your toes. What's it called? I don't even
Swan Lake.
know. It's special shoes that you stand on your toes. I can't remember what it's called.
What is it called?
I
I
don't
know what
know.
you're talking
I'm a
about.
bad dance dad. I don't know. Someone
No,
in the
I've got
chat.
my daughter's in ballet too, but she's much younger. I know what you're talking about, but yeah.
Anyway, they're like, she can do it. She has the strength. She has the agility, whatever. Um, so, and she qualified for it and she's in. And so she's, anyway, my point is now I'm a dance dad that's taking her to these ballet classes like on Monday night. That's why I can't be on your stream on Monday nights typically, although we've been talking about maybe I just joined from the car.
Oh, we had a banger idea too. It's sad that you can't make it. It's such a good idea. I still might get the Canadian chat to come in and air their grievances and do it that way. It's very
Okay.
interesting.
Anyway, so now I'm at the point where a couple weeks go by, and now I'm at this new format where I'm constantly driving my daughter to dance, and I'm sitting there, and it's far enough away that if I go home and come back, it's like by the time I go home, I gotta return, so I just stay there, and that is an opportunity to like watch content. I watch you on Monday nights and weekly retro party on Wednesday because I'm just sitting in a car. And then my daughter comes out and we have a conversation. It's actually really good because it's about a 30-minute drive each direction to dance to this dance studio. It actually gives my daughter and I a lot of time to talk to each other. And then we just chat about whatever. So we probably talk more now than we did before. Although sometimes I respect her and stay silent because sometimes she's a teenager and she just doesn't want her dad yapping. Anyway, so if you're in that situation, maybe an hour a week to do a podcast, that is an obligation.
Am I selfish? Am I a selfish family man? A selfish husband?
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't get it.
Hey, Mike, want to do a dedicated podcast with me every Thursday for an hour?
As long as it's in one of B's slots, yes. Do you know
I don't
B
know.
streams like every single day of the week now?
I know he's
Sometimes twice a day. Like the man has gone crazy. I will always push. I know that you're going in a different direction than me. I will always push for, and I know YouTube will probably block this out, but what I like and what I prefer watching myself, my personal preference, is the what is it? The prepared content, I'll call it. I like live streaming and hanging out with people, but that's not necessarily the biggest thing I watch. I don't watch a lot of live streams because it doesn't feel the same when you're not there, and I can't watch it on replay. Do you know
I
what I
see.
mean?
I see. I
So what is it?
definitely, yeah,
What is
I know
that
what you
called?
mean.
Prepared content?
I don't know, but I can say there's, I enjoy watching you and 19K Fox. There's additional incentive to watch you guys because we're pretty close friends.
Yeah.
Like for those of you that are watching that don't know, like, yeah, we have a message chat with each other. It's Carl, P Dubs, Fox, me,
And the head of NBC
you,
Studios.
and and B, and it's the only I'm in chat with other people, but most of those chats are way down on Messenger. Because Messenger does the thing where whoever you talk to recently bubbles to the top. And right now, our chat is 4th place. And Zohar just messaged me, so he's at the top. You are at the top because we scheduled this podcast. And Fox is at the top because we're doing an Andor show. And then below that is our YouTube chat because we're pretty close friends and we share ideas, and we should do more of that. And then Brian is there because he's telling me stories, which I've really enjoyed those conversations about his adventures in getting new real estate, getting a house in New York. We've had some fun chats. And then P-Dubs is next on my list because he called me for 34 minutes yesterday to talk about drama, which wasn't as fun. Anyway.
I don't like the drama at all. Like that, I don't get off on it. I don't get interested in it. It makes me an unhappy dude. And like sometimes I'm guilty. I'm in the middle of it a lot of times because I also poke the bear unintentionally and very intentionally because I love life. But
you do love life.
It's weird because like there's I don't know what it is, like normal friend stuff where you like poke fun and stuff like that. I just don't like when it goes the wrong way. And a lot of times when you're writing people, like stuff gets taken out of context. So there's a lot of drama that doesn't need to exist. And
it's gonna exist though.
yeah,
That's what I think you got to accept it. So
is it a competitive nature? Is that why it exists sometimes? Is it just people are competitive?
I guess the reason why I say that is if you wish it to go away, if you wish the drama, what do you call it? Hate videos against you to go away.
Oh, I don't care about that. They can keep making those.
Yeah, you can't control that. So all you're creating is a scenario where you're never challenged in that way at all. But I was just saying, like, the best thing you can do is figure out how to deal with it. Face it. It's face the monster is the issue. How do you face the monster? And right now, as a content creator, you and I have been the topic of many other content creators. I talked to my wife about it, and she goes, you realize your channel has grown to the point where there's other content creators that are making videos about you. Like, badge of honor, hello.
Oh, you mistake me, sir. Like that stuff's fine because okay. I don't have enough time to pay attention and watch like the people I likes videos. So I'm not too concerned about these people out there. Okay, that stuff doesn't bother me. Okay. What I'm talking about is more so like a little bit of drama between friends. That's what I don't like. That's the stuff I'm trying to avoid. And I'm trying to be better at being less critical and less sarcastic of the things people say. Like if someone says, hey, I'm going to try to give an example, and this is not anyone specific. Like if someone puts out that they do something and like they really pride themselves on this, but it's something we all do. I'm trying to feel better to not like respond to it and be like, well, we all do that. You're not special or something like that, because obviously they feel the need to say that, and it's not my place to judge them or correct them or to say that they're trying to put themselves above their other peers.
You're talking about P-Dubs, right?
No, I'm not in this case. Honestly, I'm not.
Okay. Who are you talking about?
It's
remember, this is just a chat between you and me. There's no audience here. This isn't going to be published on YouTube.
I'm going to say it's a rather common thing in our space between a lot of creators where they will put comments out about, you will never see me do this, you will never see me do that, and make these vague, broad comments that are kind of hurtful because you're like, what are they talking about?
I would never do that, by the way. See, this is the problem. Like every now and then I'll see a tweet by Cool Toy, like what you're talking about. And he goes on and on about how he would never do something. And I want to respond, but then I'm a hypocrite if I did. I'd be like, that's funny because I've never done that, but you're totally talking about me. But I'm like, I never say anything because I also don't want to be that person. And by the way, now I feel bad because I just did that.
Well, yeah, and maybe I just did that by bringing this up in the first place.
See, you screwed the moment you say anything.
I know.
You just became the evil that you're trying to hate so much.
That's what I say. I'm trying less to be judgmental myself and to try to put people on blast or question. You know what? Live your life. Be young.
There you go.
Have fun. Drink Pepsi. I'm trying not to worry about it.
I think this is an interesting topic, though. I've been silent on a number of controversial issues. And please do not mistake my silence for anything other than if I say anything, I will become the drama, hateful person that I'm trying to attack now. I'm that type of person that if I did do that, I would hate myself. So when I'm silent, I'm trying not to become the person that I'm disliking right now at the moment. And there's a lot of content creators out there that people really appreciate. And I will never tell the world how horrible they actually are to me, because then that would ruin your experience with them. It's better for you just to assume that those people are fine, awesome content creators.
Well, I'm going to just let
because you would never know otherwise. You would never know otherwise.
I'm going to let it all out now. It's fine. We're just going to take the gloves off. You remember those stories about Sylvester Stallone a couple of years ago? That's P-dubs. When we were there in Chicago, we weren't allowed to make direct eye contact with them. We could only talk to the help.
He's lying. He's talking about Kev Grit, Rexer, and Cool Toy all day long.
I'm not talking. And I'll say this: I've never met Gregory in person, but like I don't.
He's a nice guy. I'm telling you.
Everybody.
Like that's why every single time I watch a video where he's being negative, I'm just like,
who is this guy?
Good. No. I'm not like, who is this guy? At all. Like, he works really hard to be entertaining, because in person he's a really nice guy. Well, like there's Greg and there's Rexer, and anyone who watches his content knows that he's being Rexer. But if you go meet him in person, he's Greg. He's Greg, and Greg is an awesome guy. It's stick 100%. But also his content is elevated based on anyone retaliating to his content.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of people that are confused about his content. There's a lot of people confused about his content, and I definitely don't want to respond to it, because if I respond to it, as a content creator, he's going to make content about me responding to it. He's probably even going to make a content about me, what I'm saying right now. You're just silent now? What's going on?
No. Anyways, my whole point was, I don't have any problem with him. My only problem ever was that he had a problem with me, and I thought we were friends. That was it. But you know what? All that's over now. He can say whatever he wants. I don't care. It's fine, because we sorted it out.
People in chat, I'm gonna highlight him. It says, "F that, he's a hater." Console fanboy is basically saying he's a hater. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. I don't know.
It doesn't impact me anymore. So
that's the thing. It doesn't matter. I did want to make this a chat that demonstrated that we don't care about talking about whatever we're going to talk about. But I definitely don't want to make this video to be discouraging to, if Rexer's watching this, if you're watching right now, I'm not here to discourage you. Make your content. No. I truly believe, and I've been saying this for a long time, even console fanboy as well, anyone can make whatever content that they want to make. I make the content that I want to make. Please allow me to make the content that I want to make. You're also allowed to make whatever content you make. You can even make content about me and how horrible I am. That's fine. I don't care, because you have the right to make whatever content you want to make.
So there was a song that was developed here in Canada. I don't know if it made it to the US. Maybe it did. And it was all about making sure children were aware about personal space and making sure that they could tell people not to do things that made them uncomfortable. So it goes a little bit like this. My body's nobody's body but mine. You've got your own body. Let me have mine. I feel like YouTube works the same way.
It could be. It could be. But, I don't want to sit here and talk about the negative. The main point, and this is what I asked in the beginning, and I think we should circle back. If you're going to get that level of heat as a content creator, and in this community, there's going to be that level of drama. I mean, we talked about it yesterday, right? Like, if you go look, so those in the audience that don't understand what we're talking about, I'm going to explain it to you. As a content creator in the home arcade space, we have this thing called the analytics. So YouTube gives us access to our analytics, but it also gives us access to analytics in the community. So it says your audience members, what content they have been watching recently. It's not specific. It's not like I know exactly what JJ or Crumb has been watching or Paul. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's aggregates, right? And so when you go look at it, and this is why you and I were talking about just actually we had very little prep on this show. We just had a conversation last night or night before about making content, about doing just a real conversation. That's the only thing we had an idea on. You wanted to do it on your channel. I wanted to do it on my channel. It's just a format that we wanted to play with, And one of the things that we were just kind of just discussing, not about a preparation for a show or anything, it was just a real conversation we were having. We were looking at the analytics in the audience section. I'll give you an example. On my board, it says the audience that also watches content creators 19K Fox, P-Dubs, Michael B. the Game Genie, Kongs R Us, Mad Little Pixel, Cool Toy, RGT85, Retro Ralph, Console Fanboy, Super Game Room Dudes, Spawn Wave, ETA Prime, Wicked Gamer, John Riggs, and at the very bottom, The Rexer Show. And we were kind of laughing about how your list and my list were basically exactly the same.
Yeah.
Mine had Wicked Gamer and Collector, but yours had a different one. I think that was the only difference.
You know what my favorite thing is? Nobody on YouTube has on their list nostalgia. Nobody.
Fantastic. But we were looking at, there's another section in the analytics that says your audience, enjoys your content, but this is the videos that they also watch. And it's it's not like that this week, but the previous week was basically the most popular content out there was negative videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was videos of why this community sucks, why I'm never buying home arcade again, those type of videos. And it's interesting. So for a while there, for a couple weeks or a couple months, it seemed as though we were being attacked. But now I kind of feel like the audience is being attacked. That's the new thing. It's I'm going to attack what you enjoy. That was at least that's my thought. It's a possible reflect, like it's a, generalization.
I think it's a combination of a couple things, and this is my opinion. I think that after a long time, some stuff really boiled over with Arcade1UP, who are the biggest person in this game, home arcade space, about some of the decisions they make and some of their products, and people blew up. It was also a time when a big combination of people were also coming into the space looking to make up for maybe like what was going on, because the Amico thing is pretty much played out at this point. So they were looking to find a new source of content to come up. So they were coming in, and it was just like a perfect storm of the company messing up, fans getting disinterested, and a wave of people coming in looking to spread negativity towards home arcade and stuff like that. So that combination has kind of turned the direction of the fans, and there's a lot of negativity in the space now. So that's why I think you're seeing that wave. You're seeing a resurgence for channels that talk about negative stuff. Videos that are negative posted are doing well because that's a wave of feeling going through the community right now. And like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how to fix it.
No, I don't think you can. Like, no, what you said.
I'm not
perfect.
trying to fix that.
Yeah, it's a wave.
Yeah.
I mean, what's interesting about YouTube and content is the algorithm. I think a lot of people think that the algorithm is this mysterious thing.
It's a
It's not.
woman. It's a woman. It's not a woman in the sense. I just mean it's one woman. That's
No.
her name, Algorithm, and she's the one doing everything.
My point is it's all about again, the end goal of YouTube is to make money. Well, how does YouTube make money? From ads. Well, how do you get ads? By watching content. The more content you watch, you stay on the platform longer, the more ads you'll watch. Or you're premium and then you don't have ads, and then there's all of that. And so interesting content gets views. How does it get views? Well, because people watch it. People are interested in it. People see that thumbnail as they're browsing, and out of 100 thumbnails that they just scanned by, that's the one they clicked on. And that video, on average, it's a 5-minute video, but it got 2 minutes of watch time. And then they continued to scroll, and they clicked on, out of 200 videos, they picked on this other one. And the algorithm simply just weights those. It's a very simple algorithm. It says, if I send these videos, I got 500 videos I got to show the next person. I know the demographic of this person. This person likes retro gaming. They like home arcade. They like this. They get interested in this. They get interested in that. I'm going to sort those and hope and guess what they'll click on. And I hope I'm right. And the algorithm is just as simple as that. It's not a person. It's just math, right? But the point is, if a video, as it goes out to different demographics, maybe it's just your subscribers, then it's like a circle. It's like just the subscribers. Okay, then a larger group. Oh, it does well. This type of person clicked on it more often. Okay, let's spread it out to more people that are like that person. And then it spreads out. And if it does really well, it gets a lot of reach. Okay. So what you said was, there's a feeling in this market, this demographic, and there's some content creators that are making some drama, and it's reaching those people. And when I look at that, I go, I'm not really looking at it from a point of view of, oh man, I should make some videos like that because I'll get views. What you just said was, that's a reflection of the feeling that the audience is actually having.
Yeah.
And they're questioning. It's like Arcade1UP should listen up and be like, hey man, your product is really causing the feeling of a lot of people to be negative.
Yeah, 100%. It's not bad YouTube videos. It's
bad products.
Yeah. Well,
come on.
I really like the products.
Blitz is online yet, but that should have been a conversation that we had 2 months ago.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I really like the products, but there's some errors, mistakes. Like people always say there's one thing wrong, something like that, where some of the stuff, cleavage. It's just cleavage. But what I'm saying is, I always find it really frustrating because people will say, oh, you're a shill. You're just a shill. You're an Arcade1UP shill. Like everything's fine. Like P-dubs, like when we were doing Super Game Room Dudes there Friday night, the Lost episode.
Let's talk about that drama.
No. Before we
did P-dubs delete it on purpose, or was it really an accident?
I haven't figured it out yet. But anyways, going back to what I said, but it's funny because the people that are super Arcade1UP fans are then so critical of me and you because we'll make videos being like, this cabinet has a shitty screen, and they're like, oh, they're only doing that for views. Maybe we're just really big fans who want the product to be good. Did you ever think that?
I'll tell you one thing. Let's talk about Andor just for 2 seconds. I'm not going to talk about like the show Andor, but there's a couple content creators in the Star Wars space that I really respect. 2 of them are my favorite, which is Star Wars Theory and The Den of Nerds. And they do a podcast together that's called Nerd Theory, which is a really clever name because it's Star Wars Theory and The Den of Nerds. It's 2 guys, Nerd Theory.
We should do a show called Game Theory. $1 million idea.
It's brilliant. So anyway, the nerd guy, he didn't cover Andor at all, like barely at all. He's like, I won't even watch it. He's basically a Star Wars Marvel channel. The majority of his content is about Star Wars. He won't cover it. So I watched the Nerd Theory. They were talking about it. And there's a huge set of Star Wars content creators that are like, Andor's amazing. And I think it is. I think Andor is pretty spectacular. But Theory and the Den of Nerds are kind of like, it's okay. And the Den of Nerds is like, really hates Andor. But I watched a video from Den of Nerds, and he really helped me appreciate why the Den of Nerds is hating on Andor, and I could really relate to it. He knows that Andor is well filmed. It's well written. But if he says it's good, that's like telling Arcade1UP we're fine with the TN monitor. I figured it out. It's like he knows it's like, think about the Golden TXL. We like the size.
Love it. Love the cabinet.
We want more of
grills.
that. But if you say it's good, then they're going to keep making the crappy monitor.
Yeah.
And from Den of Nerds, when it comes to Andor, he's like, I don't want to reward Disney and tell them they should make more shows like Andor. No, I want lightsabers. I want the Force. I want you to make stories that have the Force in it, that has lightsabers, that has interesting characters. And if I say that Andor is great, they may make another show that doesn't have the Force in it. Even though Andor is an okay show, it's not Star Wars to him.
Mm.
And so, I don't know. Arcade1UP to me is a 4x3 monitor with a freaking IPS screen. You know?
I hear what you're telling me. So I'm not going to make any more Arcade1UP videos unless it's about Robotron. Done. Yeah, I've since day one, my first Arcade1UP video, and like, if you wonder why I started making Arcade1UP videos, I think it should be pretty clear. I didn't see a wave. I didn't see an opportunity. I started watching all these videos from One Up Weekly, from Tech Buzz, Retro Buzz, all this stuff, because I was really interested in Arcade1UP, and it made me want to make content. First video I made, Arcade1UP, I think I have a problem talking about this early addiction I had. Very second video was, listen, Arcade1UP in Canada sucks. That was the second video I made, complaining about Arcade1UP's distribution of product here in Canada, because I wanted it to be better. Nothing's changed. I'm still the same dude.
Yeah. It's interesting. So what you're saying is like, what I just described with Andor and what you just described is making a video that hopefully Arcade1UP will see, so that they will make it better. And maybe Den of Nerds is all like, I don't want to reward Disney, because then they're going to greenlight another Andor show, which I would prefer them to greenlight the season 3 of Ahsoka instead.
Mm.
I definitely would say what I would love is I would love them not to charge $1,000 for a pro cabinet, $699. I mean, this is tough, man, because I was thinking about the Blitz is $599.
Not for me.
How much is it for in Canada?
Well, it was $5.99. That's the joke, but it works out to $4.49 US.
Okay,
yeah,
that's pretty cool. So there was a couple people in my comment section that was talking about how they're waiting for the Blitz XL. And I'm really curious. I don't know the answer. If you're selling the Blitz standard edition for $5.99, it already has a 49-way stick in it. How do you make that cabinet pro? Well, you can only make it larger.
Yeah, see, I don't think that's a pro cabinet. Like I like to pick things apart and throw my own theories in there. I have this channel called Arcade Theory. So but I see everything they're doing with the XL line more sports enabled. I think honestly the pro line, anything you see in the pro line is going to be around fighters, because that's when you get into the real crucial need for the better sticks and buttons and stuff like that. I think I think Pro is dedicated more for fighters, and XL right now is sports. And I think you'll start seeing other arcades bleed into that space as well.
Hmm.
That's just a theory, an arcade theory.
Yeah. So the thing about that is, okay, the Golden TXL was $699. Can you do Blitz XL for $699 when the standard edition was $599? It's only $100 more to make the XL version of that cabinet. Is that how it works? I mean, they put a trackball in the Golden Tee. Can they put 4 49-way sticks in an XL and only charge $100 more? Because, I mean, do you need the Yamaha speakers on the XL? Do you need the, and then the other thing I would like to see is, well, can we get a light up coin door that's push button? It's not far from where we're at right now. I mean, I've been doing these game room reviews, and there's a couple people that they got like 19 Arcade1UPs. All of them light up coin doors.
Mm.
And I'm just sitting there going like, dude, light up coin door should be standard. Can you throw that in for the same price? Like, you don't have to raise the price for a couple lights.
So I don't know. I don't know the answer to this. I think Arcade1UP is in a very hard place with their pricing model right now. And it sucks because honestly, I don't think they wanted to go to $5.99 when they did. I think they wanted to go to $4.99, but costs went up. And I know people are going to jump down my throat. But you even look at what is it? Numbskull. Numbskull released that awesome Space Invaders quarter arcade there the other day at pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at that and I'm like, what a cool piece of I don't need these quarter arcades, but they're so nice. They do what I wish Arcade1UP would do, which is accurately recreate the original arcade. I love replicating that stuff. That's what I want Arcade1UP to be.
Absolutely.
But they just released that, and that's $300 for a quarter arcade. The price just ballooned. And I mean, they're saying that it's based on chip shortage, all this shit. And I don't know if that impacted Arcade1UP the same way, but I mean, I think Arcade1UP is in a place right now where it's not greed. They had to put their prices at this because of their margins or whatever it is. But they also know that their demand is going to be much lower because of their price point. So that's why we saw a lot less units on sale, and they took bigger swings with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Blitz, as opposed to the previous year where they just threw a bunch of shit out there and saw what anybody would buy. And then we just went through a Black Friday where a bunch of stuff was on sale. But guess what, kids? That wasn't last year's stock. That was the year before. They're still trying to sell because they didn't correctly predict what the demand would be compared to their supplies. So I think they're in a bad spot, and it sucks because honestly, I want this one to succeed, but I don't know if it can be successful at the current price points, especially not for the product they're putting out and the wave people feel. And a lot of that wave does have to do with the prices as well. There's some fatigue there. People have been buying these for years. They're running out of room, and they're questioning how much money they want to spend on this stuff going forward. It's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a ton of stuff going on. I mean, I think we for podcasters, I think we have a lot of content. There's so much stuff to talk about in the next couple of weeks, months to kind of break down in this topic. Because I was thinking about, like, here's an example, right? It wasn't till I was preparing for the show tonight, my standard podcast, like right before the show, I was like, oh, I should write down the dates in which I purchased them. It was just a small thing. I was like, I'm going to write down the dates in which I purchased them. So I have a little outline of, like, when I talk about a cab, I can be like, I bought it on this date. And maybe that context would give the audience, like, just an idea of what we're talking about. Like, oh, I bought this Big Blue in March or whatever it was. And I think I was Golden Tea I bought in March. So I thought that was interesting. And then it was like, hey, Big Blue, $5.99. I bought that a year ago on Kohl's, $180 Kohl's Cash. It was last Black Friday. So the Big Blue came out last year. And you know, how many do they still have available? I don't know if this hack will work, but it's an interesting thing. Yeah, it did the thing where it's like not working. But I'm sitting here looking at, you know, these cabinets here and going, the big, you know, here's Killer Instinct that came out about a year ago. But the Big Blue is still at $5.99. Why is it still at $5.99 on Arcade1UP's website? And why do they still have them? I thought their goal was to sell these cabinets, and then when they come out with the replacement version, you know, they're seasonal, right? So the Yoga Flame is supposed to supplant the Big Blue. Am I wrong? Like, it's supposed to supplant the Big Blue.
No, Yoga Flame was supposed to supplant the original Capcom Legacy.
Oh. But see, both are online now, so the lines are super blurry, though, actually.
Well, that's a lot of the reasons why Big Blue is still up on the website and why Big Blue probably didn't have the same production numbers. They wanted an online Street Fighter, but in the same year that they had to release a Capcom Legacy. And this one blows my mind because apparently retailers, like they want to do Street Fighter, but they didn't want to just waste Street Fighter Online in a Capcom Legacy. They wanted to do a big piece, so they did Big Blue. But at the same time, the Capcom Legacy, they can't name it anything else because the retailers apparently only want Street Fighter. So they had to release 2 Street Fighter cabs within the span of, what was it, 4 months?
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Because like, you look at this, Big Blue right now on Arcade1UP's website is $5.99. Take that in for a second. Then the Yoga Flame is $4.49.
Yeah.
We both know. Now, maybe some people will disagree, but it's my opinion that this Yoga Flame is 10 times better than this Big Blue.
Depends on what you want.
Maybe if you're talking about the specific games that are on it.
Yep, that's one of the questions. And also, if you want something that's more looks more accurate to the original arcade.
Well, which one looks more accurate? It's an interesting one because Big Blue, neither of them look more accurate. Neither of them look accurate. You got Big Blue, who
Big Blue looks more accurate. Absolutely.
I guess, but the actual Big Blue is way wider.
Oh yeah, ton way wider, and the front is different, and it doesn't have that weird art on it.
But this looks more like a Midway. This looks more like Midway than this looks like Big Blue.
Can you go back to the other one?
Yeah.
That looks like Pizza the Hut from the end of Spaceballs.
Okay, you're talking about the artwork. I'm talking about the shape.
The shape is amazing. Like the form
shape, that's what I'm saying. The shape is amazing.
Form factor is great.
But you can get this form factor, and if you're just playing the Street Fighter marquee game, $4.49, you're going to enjoy this form factor. And here's the interesting thing. I have this Yoga Flame, and you can look at this and you can say it's Pizza the Hut. But I'm actually saying like a lot of people are like, the blue one's better, the Shin Hadouken. But it's like, in my arcade, with other arcades, this one looks cooler. It like accents the room better, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just saying that because I have it.
That's your opinion, and that's why I said it depends on what you want, right?
But also, this one came out this year, and it's marked down. It was cheaper to begin with, and it's marked down. And this one's not marked down, and this one's a year old. Like this, if you bought this right now, you're gonna get one that says on the back that this was manufactured in 2021.
Yeah, but if you go back, I can try to explain it to you as best as my theory is on this. But they don't have a ton of stock of Big Blue. They don't need to rush to try to get these out the door. They don't need money from them because they have a small amount of them, is my assumption, because they gutted most of the Big Blue from that giant $150 sale, or I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. The giant sale that they had for the what was it? The charity auction. And now there's not a lot of stock left, but the Capcom Legacy they brought out a ton of stock for it, and maybe it's not selling, so they have a surplus, and that's why they can put it down.
I see. So you're saying that let's see if I understand correctly, because I was 90% listening. The Big Blue, they have fewer of.
Yeah.
The Yoga Flame, they have more of.
Yeah.
So they're simply like, these aren't moving, so we're going to mark it down. And we have more to move, so we're going to mark it down.
And they need money to make cabs for next year. Cash flow crunch. That's my theory. My arcade theory.
My arcade theory. Well, I can tell you, I don't know how well this show will do, this Fireside Fireside chat. But I can tell you, those in the audience have been reading your chats, and at the pace of the members only stream, it's very nice. And I've really enjoyed this conversation with you, Mike. This may be the most enjoyable podcast that I've been a part of all month, maybe this entire quarter. And if you also agree, those that are watching on the replay, hit the like and subscribe button. Comment down below if you want to see more content like this, where we're literally just, this is like chill and chat to the next level. I don't know what it is.
Turn your camera sideways. Let's end it the right way.
Yeah, you want to end it the right way. For those that are watching, we were talking about doing the show like this. This was going to be the show.
Just looking at each other.
Looking at each other to be like, we're actually having a conversation. And then when, go ahead and say something, Mike. Talk about something.
Remember when we got all those White Castle burgers and you filmed me? I felt really self-conscious about that because we had just had Hooters. And then I was eating, and I felt like obligated to eat all the burgers because you were filming me. But also, I didn't want to eat the burgers because I was like, it's just too much.
So this is how we were thinking about filming this entire show. Like, it's fireside chat. We're talking. I have that footage and I've never done anything with it. I literally have like 5 minutes of you eating a burger. What was I going to do with that?
You were going to send it to Mason to make a mukbang video.
That's right. I have like a 5-minute video. See, this is why we didn't do the stream like that, because before it started, I was like, I can't. We got to look at the camera. Like, the audience is going to hate us looking at each other. It's like, no, I can't do this. See, JJ's like, you need to do a weekly show together. Now, one thing I will explain to everything, when One Up Weekly was ending and Ralph was like, I'm really sorry, I'm super busy. You need to do your own thing or whatever. He goes, if you want to continue doing One Up Weekly and you want a recommendation, it's kind of like Bob Iger right now. He's got 2 years to make a recommendation. Who's going to replace him as CEO? His recommendation was you, Mike.
Oh, that's nice. And I had other people reach out to me as well, and we talked about it, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. But I also wanted to do Super Game Room Dudes, and then that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. And what I told you back then, I was like, I really enjoy just.
Justin said no.
Justin said no. I did say no. I did say no. I have a bad taste in my mouth about permanent podcast shows and separate channels. They ultimately will fail. But one thing that doesn't fail is a content creator on YouTube making content on their own channel and occasionally having guests on their own channel. It's nothing permanent. So this show was just fun. Next time I'll do it, maybe with you. Down in the comments or whatever, reach out to me, consulkits@gmail.com, if you're interested in doing just a fireside chat. This is yet another experiment. I don't know. I got like 4 shows now. I have my Sunday monologue. I'm going to call it my monologue. The Sunday show is a monologue. Wednesday show is a community stream. And then this fire chat, whatever this is.
No, I thought Sunday show was the Console Kits podcast. That's what you had agreed upon, or
sure. Sounds good.
Sure. What happened to not another home arcade?
Yet another home arcade podcast. That's too long.
Not another home arcade podcast. That's what it should be called.
Not another home arcade podcast.
Not another teen movie like that.
Yeah, I think Rex at the same time, because someone reached out to me when I said yet another home arcade podcast. Of course, the idea of yet another home arcade podcast was like, it's another one. There was One Up Weekly, and then here's another one, and then Tech Buzz has one, and the Super Game Room has one, and then I think Console Fanboy reached out to me and says, you're not very original, because Rexer has a podcast called Everybody Has a Podcast, which is like basically the same concept, basically making fun of the fact that everybody has a podcast. Yet another home arcade podcast was basically the same thing. See, me and Rexer are the same person.
So this is not a comment against Rexer or anything like that, but like I one thing I'm really I get upset by is people are like, there's too many people making one-up videos. There's too many people doing this. There's too many people doing that. There should only be this many people doing this. That's crazy. It's YouTube, not some tube. YouTube. It's for everybody. And like, there's enough room for everybody. What people need to decide is who they're going to watch. Like
I
the
know.
stuff in the chats where people are
Yeah.
like, oh, how many people are going to make videos about this? As many people who want to make a video about a topic are going to make a video about a topic. You, and here's where YouTube works for you if you're only a viewer, only have to watch what you're interested in. If there's 70 videos about Arcade1UP Blitz online in your view, only watch the people you're interested in. You don't like the topic, don't watch any of
Dude,
it.
I
That's
love
the power you have.
social media that has the ability to say, so everyone in the audience, if you're watching me and you dislike my content, you're like, man, I'm so irritated by this guy, Justin. This is what I need you to do. Back out of this video and you'll see my video in the list, because 99% of the people that find my content is in the featured section, in the browse section. So I'm in a list of other content. There's a ... You hit that ... and you say, don't unsubscribe. It's not enough to unsubscribe. You hit not interested in this content.
Yeah.
And then I stop being shown to you. I love that feature, because if you groom your own content, you'll find yourself being on a social network like YouTube that only delivers the content that you, but you have to be like, not interested, not interested, not interested, not interested.
So something I've never done. I do it now in my talking head videos. Specifically, I say, hey guys, and if this is your first time to the channel, subscribe, click the bell for notifications and all that YouTube stuff. What I'm going to do, I've never done this. 19K Fox is good. He uses these green screen animation effects for the click to subscribe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to make my own, telling people how to unsubscribe from my channel, showing them how the green screen animation.
If you hate this video, please unsubscribe and then say, do not recommend this content. That's beautiful. And then I'll be in a void and an abyss, and you'll never have to deal with me again. I absolutely agree with that. I think social media or YouTube should be filled with content creators that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And if you don't enjoy me or someone else, then you should groom it and then only see the things that you enjoy. And yes, there's a room for everybody. I 100% agree with that. I mean, I was thinking about making yet another series, and the series is how to be a home arcade YouTuber, and be like, if you want to know at least what I buy, like I use a Canon M200. It is the cheapest camera on the market that gives you clean HDMI out and allows you to put a stock, a different lens on it that gives you the bokeh background. I think you use that as well, right?
Yeah. You actually were the one who gave me the heads up about how to do it.
You could spend $1,000 if you want, or you could spend $400, which is my recommendation.
Yeah, and it's perfect. It's perfect for live streaming. It's really changed the way I do things. Like,
do you have yours on 24/7?
Oh yeah,
I never turn mine off.
Never,
it's
never
literally a camera that's on all year.
So the funny thing is,
never overheats.
A lot of people don't realize this now, but like you'll notice in even my reviews and stuff like that, and like how I've been able to do a lot more talking head videos is because after I got that camera, I've got good picture quality, I got good lighting. Justin suggested all this stuff to me because he's a ace of a dude. He's nostalgia is more so the Bob Saget. You're like the Uncle Joey, but anyways. He suggested all this stuff. So before,
dude, hold on. While you're on that topic, I finally did it. Check this out. I'm going to touch a button on my Elgato.
Oh, you get your lights.
I finally got it where I literally sit down and I press a button to turn on both lights.
Nice work.
Anyway,
so,
sorry.
Really, really quickly, Justin told me never to give him credit for all this stuff, but you're getting credit for it. Anyways, before that, I have the camera that I use for all my videos I really like is a Canon, and it's a mirrored camera, so it doesn't have an autofocus. So what I would have to do is every time I do a talking head, I would have to get my wife to come down and sit exactly where I was going to sit.
Yes.
And I would have to focus the camera on her face so I could focus myself. So it was actually a nightmare. Like, it took me so long to get the camera set up to do talking heads or to do stuff. But since I've moved to this, there it is. Yeah.
It's a good camera, dude. It's a good camera.
Yeah. Since I've moved to this, it's actually made video editing, video production so much easier.
And that's my suggestion to anyone, even the haters out there. If you make hate content, this is my recommendation to you. As a content creator, you got to streamline your process. You got to make it where, and I say, you've heard me say this a million times, right? Please make your setup where you can walk into your room, you press a button, and that button is record. You're already set up. And this is my recent one. It's like lights on, press record, or it's lights on, go live. Like, and you criticize me about this, but I still think it's valid. Like, this video doesn't have a thumbnail. It doesn't matter. You can do it afterwards because like there's a grace period where like people are going to click on it because they like your content, and then it does the extended reach. You got 3 hours to make a thumbnail, then throw the thumbnail on there.
I know.
And then it'll go beyond the reach. I don't know.
Yeah, but
streamline your process, make it where the gap between you having an idea and getting out to the community is really small. Because you kept on saying Justin always goes live when there's like a breaking news. I'm like, yeah, because I have it set up where I press one button and I can go live.
I know, and there's a bit of jealousy there because of my mindset and what I want to do. It's so hard to compete with that because there is
It's not a competition. I'm just
no.
There's not a lot of time, right?
It's not a lot of competition, but you know what I'm saying, that honestly, early bird gets the worm a lot of time with these videos. So if your stuff is out later, it's impacted, right? So it feels like a race. What I did was I stopped caring, and I'll just make it when I make it.
That's also true. Like you can come out. The news cycle is so weird with Arcade1UP. When I first started making content for Arcade1UP, I respected, or at least my terms I used was, I respected Retro Ralph and Cool Toy as being the better content creators than me. And I specifically waited 3 weeks to a month to cover the same contents that they were covering as well. But here's the weird thing. I still got the views. It didn't matter if they were first. I didn't get more views with them, but I got my share. And it was because like the whole news cycle, you got to be out there within, like, this, you do a video a year later and you're like, it's finally my review of the Ridge Racer. And it's like, people enjoy your content, whether you're first or last. It doesn't matter. They enjoy it or they don't enjoy it.
It does have some impact, timeliness. And then you got to, like, the new thing now is about adding stuff.
Matter?
Yes, because now the new thing is, say, for example, I do a Big Blue review. Normally I would just do Arcade1UP Big Blue review. But now I got to sweeten the pot, and I got to say Arcade1UP review 1 year later. And then people are like, oh my God, he's doing
this is my feeling. I've been telling this to my wife a lot. It was like, is it really the fact that you came up with this idea that 1 year later is going to get the audience going? Or is it because you think 1 year later is better and therefore you deliver a better piece of content that actually makes it more interesting? So then your first few people that click on your video watch a little bit longer because the content is interesting, because you have more confidence. And then YouTube is like, wow, I sent this to Paul. I sent this to Had a Bachelor. I sent to Console Fanboy. And they watched for a little bit longer than I guessed. Let me send it to more people. This is the biggest thing. The biggest question. It's, dude, I'm going to feed this back to you. You said marketing, there's no way to prove that marketing actually works.
It doesn't.
So it's the same thing.
I know.
Right back in your face.
Is
it possible that you're just more confident because you think you have a better title, so that you make pieces of you deliver better, and that's actually what gets you like more views?
The truth is, there's no way to prove marketing works. That's what I'm saying.
There's no way to prove that your 1 year later is better than just you having better confidence.
There's no statistical way. But if I don't do my advertising, I'm probably going to sell less shirts. But if I do my advertising and I sell more shirts, there's other variables that could have impacted that. I can't prove it's just the marketing.
So how do you even know that the 1 year later is what got them to click on it anyway?
I have no idea.
Like I told you, like I've been telling you and P-Dubs, like all my videos that get high views, I have Liquidation and Homer on it.
I know. I stole that Homer.
Did it work for you? Because I don't know.
It didn't.
All I'm trying to do is extend the reach to the community. We're going to get more people to join the community, because that's the other thing about content creation. It's kind of interesting. I'll make a video. There's a certain type of video that I know how I can create every day, and analytics will say you reach this amount of views and you did not get any new viewers. You basically just made this content to your existing viewers. There's another piece of type of content that I can make that will majoritarily be new viewers. And those are statistically will get more subscribers, and I'll get a ton of comments from people that are like, I never even knew about this product that existed. I'm buying one. And now all of a sudden they're in the live chat. And then they're in your live chat. And then they're in P-Dub's live chat. And then they're in Rex's live chat.
Are you a home arcade YouTuber?
Do we have to put labels on everything?
No, you don't. You don't. But I don't like when people tell me I'm a home arcade YouTuber. I'm not a home arcade YouTuber. I'm Mike.
I was about to say I'm console kits, maybe, yeah. But that's the thing. So, P-Dubs, we've had that conversation, and he's encouraged me for years. He's like, "You got to cover AtGames more. You got to cover iArcade more." And he's like, "You're just an Arcade1UP YouTuber. You only cover Arcade1UP." And I'm like, you can call me what you want. You can call me whatever you want. But, you know, and even P-Dub says everyone has their own YouTube Bible. You know, that's an expression that he says, YouTube Bible. Basically, for people that don't know what the YouTube Bible is, that expression refers to like what you believe works in this, you know, what works. And for me, everything I ever do research on for years, and I did this years ago, it was find a niche and stick to it. And then it's all about, what are you interested in, and what is the audience interested in, where that intersects, make content. And I'm like, I'm not interested in covering content about the iArcade every single day. I feel as though there's a group of people that cover the iArcade that do it way better than me. And anytime I ever talk about the topic, they say I'm wrong. They say I misinterpret something, that I'm not familiar with the product. I'm not in touch with what Jong is saying. That I'm not listening to every single thing that Jong says. And so I have fear that I'm going to say it incorrectly. So I just simply don't cover the product. But yet I own an iArcade. I own 2 iArcades, and I enjoy the product. I just don't talk about it because of fear of people that are going to constantly say that I misspoke about the iArcade. So I don't cover the iArcade. And the AtGames, I never covered it because I used to work for AtGames. And I feel that there's a conflict of interest to actually being employed by AtGames, whereas where Arcade1UP, I'm not employed by Arcade, but they did give me money for a single show that I helped, you know, produce the live show. And there's haters that are talking about that, but I don't care because that's what I enjoy doing.
So let's be clear. There is some inherent jealousy that people don't talk about relationships that other YouTubers and opportunities other YouTubers have with certain companies. That's the truth. And then people mask that as, oh, that person's a shill. And I'm not saying like, definitely not saying Rex. Rex is honest. Like that's his shtick or his opinion. But like there's other people.
Did you just say his shtick is honesty?
I know it's, but like what I'm saying is he isn't saying that stuff about us or about other things because he's jealous of the relationship. But there's other people that see people being close with a company and they don't really think anything untoward is going, but there's this negative jealousy type of thing that makes them want to come up with these ideas or theories on why that person is close with the company.
I don't know if it's jealousy. This is what I can tell you about the entire situation of any content creator that makes content negative about me. They prey on your imagination.
Yeah.
And maybe your imagination is accurate. It's very possible that what they're saying is 100% true. That they're saying, would you agree that you think Justin would actually do or be honest about this? Yeah. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're wrong. Or maybe they're imagining the entire situation themselves and they're preying on your imagination. And then you're like, oh, I bet he is dirty. Oh, I bet he would go that far. But here's the thing. Where's the receipts? Where's the receipts?
They don't need receipts.
Here's the thing about the entire thing of me receiving a paycheck for doing that episode. The only reason why anyone knows that I received money by doing a 1UP, that 1UP show is because I told people about it. That's the only reason why. The receipt is me. The evidence is me telling everyone, hey, by the way, everyone, Arcade1UP reached out to me multiple times and said, we'd love for you to help us do a live stream. And I did a whole bunch of that out of the goodness of my heart. And then they said, we would really love for you to do this one, but you got to do a lot of Zoom calls. We got to do several Zoom calls to talk about it. And we'd like to get your opinion on it. And then I was like, yeah, this sounds like a job now. Like, I guess I would do it if you compensated me. And so everyone's mad at, so some people are mad at me because I said, I'll do it. I'll be behind the scenes pressing buttons and I'll listen in and give you recommendations if you compensate me. And they're like, oh, he's a shill. I'm like, well, you can call me a shill, whatever you want, but there's no way that I'm going to spend 5 hours helping Arcade1UP to make a show for free.
Yeah. So anyways, let me go back.
Would you?
What?
Would
no.
Rexer?
I don't know. I don't know him. So I will go back a little bit and I'll be very clear here. So the thing is, you said earlier about P-Dubs told you need to cover this other stuff. No, like we are not bound by any kind of Bible or any kind of rule set. You cover what you're interested in. And if I'm interested in Arcade1UP, I don't have to all of a sudden cover iArcade or AtGames because I have to be fair. I cover Arcade1UP because that's what I'm interested in. I'll be fair about that and about what I like, what I don't like. Now, me, I do like the other stuff. And I personally don't like when people are like, how could you like that? Or how could you don't like that? And I'm just like, I like it because I like it. And I sure as shit don't have to justify it to you. So that being said, the other thing you said about like your fear of like people attacking you because you don't cover something with iArcade. I mean, you can't worry about that. I mean,
well, no, I just don't care, so I just move on.
But you do care. You
but
just
no, but I don't. That's the thing. So I'll give you an example. I don't care about covering iArcade just as much as I bought a Sega Genesis version 2, the Model 2. And you're making, I'm sure your video is going to be great. That thing has like 60 games on it.
Yeah.
It's not upon my interest to go and dive deep into those 60 games and share some unique perspective about the Sega Genesis Model 2. What I did enjoy is purchasing it and knowing that I own one and that I own the, Tower of Power version of their new version. And it's just simply going to sit on my desk or on a shelf. I could make a video that's like, hey guys, I bought this and I enjoy that I bought this and I put it on a shelf, but I don't have an interest in doing the research necessary to be able to be like, this game is fantastic. This other game is fantastic. Because it's like, even if you like have knowledge about those games, you still have to do all the work of
so much work.
The footage. How are you going to explain it? Wait, I got to go verify all the details on it. And you love doing that.
I do. Yeah. And like, I also
but I don't necessarily love that, but I want to buy it and I want to own it.
But it's also easy for me. I already know all the games on it. I don't need to even play them to form an opinion. The only thing I would have to say is on the performance. Great. That's the only reason I have to play them. Like I could tell you, the ooze sucks. The ooze shouldn't be on there. I have no idea why Sega put the ooze on the Genesis Mini 2.
That's great, and I will enjoy watching that because you have a unique perspective. No. Already I'm interested. I'm already intrigued by the idea of this ooze. I don't know anything about it. I want to hear your perspective on it. But that's the thing. I want my audience to also be like, ooh, Justin just said something interesting about the ooze. I want to learn about that. So there, it's like I want to make content about something that I have something valuable to offer. And if I don't make content in something, it may be because I just don't have anything valuable to offer in that topic. JJ in the chat mentioned earlier that he would love to hear me more talk about console mods, but the reality is there's actually not a lot of content there. There's only a handful of console mods that are actually interested in even covering, and all of them are generally, do you want to get an RGB out or do you want to get HDMI out on a console that didn't have it previously? And here's the steps in which to take it. And there's a ton. Voltar, which is, by the way, probably one of the best content creators related to it. And he covers the topic so well that I don't feel I really have anything to offer in that area. My recommendation is like, if you want to learn about console modding, go to Voltar.
See, you know what I like about you? You look at something and say, there's already competent, good people out here. And I know I'm never going to be as good as them. So I don't want to do it. And then you get a guy like Nostalgia who sees all these people making better videos. And he's like, I'm just going to make shitty ones anyways. And hope for the best.
I'm going to make the dollar store version of it. Maybe that's home arcade too. Maybe some people feel that P-Dubs is the ETA Prime and I'm the nostalgia version of home arcade. But to me personally, I feel like I have value in this conversation. Like I feel that if I talk to my retro friends that don't know anything about Arcade1UP, I can give them insight on something that they otherwise wouldn't have information on. And those that are in the community that keep up with this, and then I give insight about what's going on, I give valuable information on it. What I would love to be as a content creator, I've told it, one of my favorite content creators is someone I recently met at Retro World, and his name is Displaced Gamer, and he's a software developer. That's what I do all day long. I write code, I hack, I disassemble, I reverse engineer, all of those things. Those exact skills that I do on a daily basis are the makeup of Displaced Gamer, and he's a fantastic content creator. Modern Vintage Gamer, same thing. Software developer, reverse engineer. That's my forte. I would love to be a content creator that says, I'm going to explain to you how the hack for the Wii came out. There was this software developer that worked for MIT. His name was Bunny. He wrote a book, and he learned how the GameCube could be hacked. He applied the same hack to the Wii. And he learned that there's a password that you could intercept the JTAG communication between the DVD player, and the Wii. And the password was Hitachi. Do you know why it was Hitachi? It's because that's the manufacturer behind the DVD player. Where GameCube, it was all lowercase, but on Wii, they really wanted to thwart the hackers. So what they did is they made the password all uppercase. Because that's totally going to stop them. I would love to be a YouTuber that covers that, but it's like, it's a lot of work. It's a completely different format. That's an extreme challenge for me. And one day, maybe I'll reach to that level where I can make that type of content. Like, you look at Displaced Gamer, and he's literally reverse engineering assembly language of the old Turtles game and telling you exactly why that game sucks, objectively, not subjectively, but saying, like, you can't, like, slash with Leonardo and press down at the same time while swimming because the game doesn't hit the hitbox correctly. Like, there's all these details that are, like, all amazing, but requires an extreme amount of research and Discord chats with people that are reverse engineering it to create a story like that. And then that video gets like 100,000 views, and I'm sure he's get a great satisfaction out of the content that he creates. I mean, I would love to be able to create that content. I have the skills for it, but I don't have the knowledge and research that he has. So it's like, no, that's Displaced Gamer. But I've done the knowledge. I've been in the home arcade space for 4 years. I've communicated with Arcade1UP. I've followed the topics for a long time. So when I say I'm going live and I'm talking about a new cabinet that's coming out, I feel like I'm in a position that people can respect my opinion on it.
Oh yeah, you totally offer something. That's why people watch. I offer nothing. I just offer my opinion.
Whatever.
I do.
Whatever. You own more arcades than I do. You own more Arcade1UPs than I do. You said just earlier you almost own all of them. Which one are you missing?
I didn't buy Class of 81. And that's it. Might be. I didn't buy Big Buck Hunter. I didn't buy any of the new Pac-Mania, Centipede, Yoga Flame, Shin Hadouken. There's a bunch I didn't buy.
Yeah. Jason, he's talking about the Behind the Code. It's amazing. And I got to have dinner with that guy that wrote that does the Behind the Code. And dude, I need to hang out with him more. Like, I wanted to bring him on a stream. He said he would come on the podcast, but here's the deal with me and Displaced Gamer. So I'm in Retro World. I'm hanging out with Retro Tech, and he's a super nice guy. I've known him for a while, and Mason and I were having dinner with him, and here's this guy, Chris, and I didn't even know it was Displaced Gamer. I had no clue it was him. And he's one of my favorite content creators. And he's sitting right in front of him, having a conversation with him, and he was like, I'm thinking about changing my name to my channel. It's like, Displaced Gamer is not great. I'm like, oh my God. I've been having dinner with Displaced Gamer for like the last 30 minutes. Had no clue. Because he's a no-face YouTuber. So I had no clue what he looked like. And so I went to the bathroom and literally was like, oh my God. I'm like, this is the guy. I watch all of his videos. Like, I watch him more than anybody. And I come back and I'm like, I just played it off cool. And then the next day we were like, see you later. You know, we probably won't see each other again. It was really nice meeting you. And the next day we're at the hotel. Boom, we ran into each other. We're talking for another hour. We're like nerding out about coding and all this stuff. And I was like, see you later. I'm never going to see you again. It was really nice meeting you. I get to the airport. Mason and I go to have dinner. There's Displaced Gamer again at the airport, literally at the airport. We ran into him. We went to find this restaurant and it was like, let's go to this restaurant. And right across from it was his. And I'm like, dude, we keep running into you. What are you doing? He's like, my flight's in like 4 hours. I'm like, dude, want to get some lunch? We're like, yeah. We're sitting there. Mason's sitting here like on his phone because Displaced Gamer and I are just going on for like talking about nerdy stuff forever. And next thing you know, and Displaced Gamer said something to me. Chris said something to me that I've never heard anyone say. He goes, I got to catch this flight. This is the first time I've ever been like, I wish I could get a later flight because I've enjoyed this conversation so much. And I was like, we got to keep in touch, man. And then he went on his flight and I haven't talked to him since. And he commented on one of my videos, one of my live streams a couple weeks ago. And I was like, heart that. I was like, I love you, dude.
Why don't you just reach out to him?
I need to reach out to him. I'm a dance guy. I'm a dance dad.
You're at Dance Dad. It's a perfect opportunity.
Maybe I should just like get a call with him.
Pick up the phone and be like,
but I've been watching all his videos and I comment. I'm like, another banger video, dude.
Do you say banger?
I say banger for everything.
Well, I'm gonna start writing on people's videos. Another sausage video.
Yeah. I just realized I think our Andor episode with yeah. I gotta join a show with 19K Fox now. It's been great hanging out with you guys. Love all you guys in the chat. I love you, Mike. You are fantastic. And yes, that love comes from a little too much whiskey, but nevertheless, life is short.
Before you go, I just want you to know I'm having a really good time.
Yeah, I've had a really good time. Hit like in the chat, comment down below after the show is over. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. I had a really good time, Mike.
This was fun.
Yeah. All right, see you.